No one can agree. Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode. This is episode 6 of No One Can Agree. I'm Joe Love, as always. We got a fine panel here today, consisting of Reggie, Jay, Judge, and Mo. Introducing Mo, his first time on the panel. How you fellas doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
Thank
Good,
you for asking, sir.
good
Great,
evening.
great,
Good
great.
evening.
So let's get into this week's topics. We'll start it off with Jay-Z. I know we talked a little bit about it, what we thought was gonna happen. Jay-Z released his album 444 or 444 in reference to time. I got the tidbit that the album was referencing the time he wrote the song 444, and then it ended up being the album title. The album's out. I thought it was absolutely magnificent. Uh, what are you guys' thoughts on the album? What Jay-Z addressed, and then there was a lot of media coverage, for the album, and a lot of celebrities took some offense to some things. Other rappers and other people. What do you guys think about the album? And how do you guys feel Jay-Z is at 47 years old as a rapper? Floor
Uh,
is open.
uh, I'll just chime in if I can. I haven't heard the album in its entirety, but I did hear OJ. I saw the video. I liked what I heard and saw. I liked the artistic direction that he took with the album with that song. Um, the message that he's the message that he spit within that song was dope. I foresee myself enjoying that album in its entirety. If it's anything like all the tracks are like OJ, I think I'm going to be very pleased with that album.
Yeah, it follows in that same kind of vein throughout the album. So it's very well structured in that sense that he's talking. He kind of has a vibe he's going for, and it kind of runs through the whole album.
Yeah, I could tell that he from that song that he's going to have a social stance, that he's taking some social stances within this album about the controversy with the unarmed black men being killed, misperceptions about wealth and status, social status. Once you reach the pinnacle of wealth, how you're still looked at as, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, I don't know. Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Can't think of it. Can't think of it.
Reggie, what'd you think, Mr. Nino?
Well, I'm a Spotify loyalist, so I don't have title, so I haven't heard all of the album yet. I've only listened to snippets of most of the songs. I'm not a big Jay-Z fan. I think people overhype Jay-Z to some degree. To me, I mean, I will say that I like that he's a African American male who has a social conscience. He does put things in his music that reflects the times that we're in. So I'm glad that he did that. As far as the songs that I heard, I mean, it sounds dope. Sounds like a dope album. Something that people should listen to. But I'd like to take the time to kind of pick it apart. Just kind of really hear what he's saying, and what messages he's trying to put out there.
No doubt, no doubt. I think you'll enjoy it once you hear the whole project. Judge, Mo, what you got?
Judge or Mo, which one?
Either one of you.
Well, while he doing that, like the other fellas, I have not heard the album in its entirety, but I think with a guy like Jay-Z who's been around for
many years at this point. I think you hope that he gets better with every album, at least if he's going to continue to do it. And that's all that you can really hope for. And you love when a guy is really, really conscious and knows everything that is going on at the current time, and can speak on social issues. And that's what you want out of a complete album. I don't know if this is his most personal album, but if this is his most personal album, I normally hear with everybody's most personal album is usually their best album. That's really the most that I can speak on the album without hearing the whole thing.
Okay.
Right. And I will add, being that he's 47.
Yep.
I mean, at this point in his career, you would hope that he's rapping about something with some substance and not. Like, I mean, I don't want to hear a Migos album from somebody that's 47. You know, so you know, you would hope that it's got some meaning to it and actual lyrics to it at this point in anybody's career at 47.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, in hip hop and rap, as it is, it's kind of new territory. I mean, you've had some older guys put out some albums, but nobody's been wanting to hear them. Like Jay-Z's probably the first person that age put out a hip hop album that people actually wanted to hear. So in that sense, he's kind of in uncharted territory.
Yeah. Can I jump in now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I heard the album, the whole thing. Okay. Personally, lyrically, he's always great. Lyrically, you can't beat him. I think the production was subpar. I do.
So you think No ID was subpar?
Most of the production was subpar. Yes.
I want to say No ID did the whole album.
Well, most of the production was subpar on Jay-Z standards of what Jay-Z is known for putting out. That's just my opinion. Again, you can take what he said, put it onto some really dope hip hop tracks, and to me, the album would have been great. Now, I think he's braggadocious and he's flexing by being able to go in the studio when he wants, do a song, and drop it on Tidal when he gets ready and make some money. That right there is the pinnacle of what you want to do. But that's something I saw without having to listen to the album. What you really shouldn't be listening to what he's saying, but watching what he's doing. Okay? That's really the message that he's giving. Now, most people are posting lyrics and everything because they're concerned with what he's saying on the song. Don't get caught in the facade of that, and pay attention to what the man is actually doing. To be able to go and record an entire album, mention Al Sharpton taking selfies, which only happened a couple weeks ago, and then being able to put it on a brand new album, you were able to do that right off the top.
Yeah, I'll add to that to some degree. And y'all might not agree, but to me, it's bothersome when you have people who want to act as if they somehow woke now because of the album. You know, especially with the lyrics about putting the money to your ear. You know, you've seen that in social media everywhere, where everybody's talking about. All of a sudden now, everybody is this big. Oh man, I'm the money phone. You got to be woke. You got to be smart. You can't have the money phone. You can't do this. I mean, come on, man. When kids are 19, 20, they got a whole lot of money. You know, I think his purpose was for them to try to put a seed in there so they could think a little different, but not to say, hey man, you 19, 20, don't have fun, don't live your life. I think he was just trying to put a seed in there so that they might start thinking a little different long term, but not just something right off the bat. Because people gonna live when they're young. That's just life.
I agree.
People buy stuff on any level. People buy stuff.
I agree. I don't think that was. I don't think that was his intention to go at people like that. With the mention of that, I think the listeners and followers of Jay-Z kind of took it to that level where they're trying to grab the hold of something he said and kind of just threw it, and it gained steam through the media, and now the money phone was looking down on, and then you had people who take pictures with wads of money to their ear, taking offense to it, like Lil Boosie and Future and whoever the hell else do that shit. I think it's stupid. I don't understand the purpose of doing that. But matter of fact, who started a money phone? Who started that? That's not like I heard like Lil Boosie, he came back saying something like, oh, it's the South culture for hip hop and all this. I don't think that's part of culture. Somebody that shit ain't old. It's a fairly new phenomenon, man, with people doing that shit. I don't know who started it, but back in the 90s, nobody was doing that shit. If they was flexing, they was
I
flexing
remember
the chain.
I remember 50 I remember 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather doing it a select few years ago. So it's not old, but it's definitely not something new. I think when he mentioned that, I think it was more along the lines of the guys who are 30 plus, and if they've been around for a while, it's time to kind of stop it. You don't have to do that if you're established. Everybody knows you've made hits. Everybody knows that you're making money. And for the younger guys, to not always floss the money like that because you don't have to, but it's okay to still have fun. Because back when Jay-Z was younger and he had records like Big Pimpin' and all those and all of the hits that he made with the Neptunes, they had party. I mean, they had fun and they poured champagne on all of the girls. So they were having fun during that particular time too. They just did it a different way.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Well, also think of it like this. He said what he's telling young people is, he mentioned it in the song. I could have bought a house early on or a building that's worth $20-something million right now.
Yeah.
Stop putting your money on your ear and invest it. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't listen to what he say all the time. Watch what he do.
I agree. I agree.
Another thing is with the most recent thing with the whole Kim Kardashian being robbed in Paris. If she wasn't flossing money or everybody know what she was, then she may have not gotten robbed.
Right.
Exactly. And that's just one of those things. If you're not flossing and flexing and showing everybody that I got this and I'm doing this, then it could probably be a lot less fatalities than we have.
But see, people when they say that though, like I always tell them, I caution them not to say that. And the reason that not to say what you just said, but I'm saying, like they'll throw out they'll say like Bill Gates or somebody like, you don't see Bill Gates doing this. Man, Bill Gates is known for luxury cars. Like that's what he purchased luxury cars. To say that he don't floss it would be incorrect because he do. You just don't see him on Instagram, with a wad of cash on his ear. But he still flossing. Rich people floss.
I think maybe the word is practicality. Go ahead, Jay. I think you had something to say.
Oh yeah. Back to what you were saying about trendsetters with this flossing money phones up to your ear, money phones. I remember back in the early 90s, big timers, was it? You had Baby, you had Lil Wayne, and you had, what was the other cat's name?
Cash Money.
That's an old school trend, that's been picked up and dropped and picked up again. So, I mean, but yeah, like you said, I agree with Curtis. The message that Jay-Z is sending as far as being smart with your money, investing your money, that is the new hip that I wish these young heads would really tune into. You know what I'm saying? That's the success, the bar of success that you want to be in the hip hop game is what Jay-Z is, and how he can still be dope and fly without looking like a street boy, like a D boy. You see Jay-Z wearing Tom Ford. You don't see him wearing, he ain't Coogee down and nothing. The dude is a professional, but he's still very street savvy yet professional. And these young boys, man, they need to take note, man.
Yep. Yeah, I think you also have to take into consideration the audience as well. Because, you know, in the past, that might have been relevant where, you know, it take a guy 5 to 10 years to really get on. You know, he had to put in a grind to get where he, you know, we really known. Nowadays, man, we got a mic right here. I can get on here and lay a track. And if it go viral, I'm big. You know what I'm saying? So my mindset is still the same mindset that I had before I started speaking into the mic. You know, so it's you have to take that audience into consideration when you're talking about going from being the person prior to talking in the mic to now getting millions of dollars, you know, in a week's time. And, you know, now you want me to be this investor making smart moves. I mean, you know, you have to take the audience into consideration as well.
Yeah,
I agree. He is. He just it's just, you know, it's all, you know, you take out of what you get, what you want, what you need, and the rest you can put to the side. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's more. I don't think it was like a scolding.
No.
I think it was more of, this is some game. This is what you need to be looking at going forward.
He flexing, bro. Trust and believe he flexed.
Yeah. No, it was definitely flex, bro.
Man, that's a title flex for any record label right there. You can just go and record and drop it on your own streaming service. That's nationwide, internet. Come on.
It's kind of like what his wife does all the time. She doesn't pub her albums anymore. She just drop them in the middle of the night.
And then took all of the airplay from the radio stations. Come on, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from that. I think we could talk about Jay-Z and this album and our thoughts on it. I'd definitely like to get you guys' opinion of it once you guys listen to it entirely. I don't have title either. I pirated it, but hey man.
Hey. This is live.
Hey man. Come see me about that $9.
Oh, you ain't giving them 9.
Jay, I'm your biggest fan. I done bought every CD you had. If this CD was available for purchase at a store, it's not even available in stores. You have to have title.
Okay.
When it's available in stores, I'll go buy a copy. Fuck it.
Too late now, brother.
All right, moving on. Rob Kardashian was in the news 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? It was 2 days ago.
It was yesterday.
No, it was yesterday. This was yesterday.
We don't care.
Him and Black China have completely broken up, fallen apart, and he went on a Twitter tirade, posting nude pictures of Black China, telling the internet she's been sleeping around, and showing videos of her with her new dude that she been with, that she sent him. And it's just a mess. He just put his whole business out there. They have a child together. What do you attribute the way of acting and lashing out online? What do you attribute that to somebody who, Rob Kardashian's had his troubles in the past? You know, he's been depressed. You know that he gained a lot of weight. He got depressed. Black China was helping him lose some weight. He gained it back, and things just went south. Apparently, he paid $100K for her plastic surgery and all her implants and jobs and whatever, and she dipped on him.
I'm not shocked by that at all.
That he came out with. It was called No Bitch Assness. That's bitch assness. Bitch assness culture. So that's what that is. Okay. Recognize it. Soak it in.
Do we see a lot of this? I think this is more common now. It's more commonplace for people to lash out on the internet, delete their page, delete their tweet.
It is, Joe. I'll say this. It kind of, you know, it started early on with cyberbullying, you know, way back. And, you know, when you got Instagram and Facebook, and now you can, you know, the DM and all that and this and that and the other. Then it reached adults somehow, and it just went out of control, man. as far as Rob, man, I feel bad for him. I know he's heartbroken, but it was a real bad move, man. Sucker move going on IG.
You feel bad for him?
I don't.
Man.
I don't feel bad for him at all. I'm gonna.
Well,
why should I feel? Why should I feel bad for him?
Here's the thing. When I say I feel bad for him, I empathize with him because I understand the dude has led a sheltered life. You know what I'm saying? Everything been handed to him, and I mean, you'll feel something for anybody that's got their heart broken.
No, we don't. Stop it.
No, I don't. I don't.
Bitch asses, Jay. You can't talk.
I don't feel bad for everybody getting their heart broken, especially when people are telling you what's going on. When people telling you what's going on, and you know they just putting it out there, they letting you know, hey, this is not a good idea, and they've said it multiple times, and you like, man, F all of this. I'm gonna go. You know, it's me and her. It's against the world, man. Ain't nobody gonna feel bad for you. Ain't nobody gonna feel bad for you. You know, when things go south. That's just a big. That's a real big ass. I told you so.
Here's something to close this out. If you get with a woman who had a baby by a cat named Tigger, then you turn around and her name Black China, and you trying to get with her, those are recipes for disaster.
Yeah, okay? I don't think anybody's surprised by this.
I got a different view.
Go ahead, Rich.
So my opinion is that he's a Kardashian, and
the only man.
It's a very smart family. It's a very smart family, and in my opinion, I think it's strategic.
Oh man.
Hold on a second. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. Just hear me out.
Go ahead.
I think it's strategic. So when Kim had that stuff go on with her, getting her stuff robbed, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Of whatever the Kardashian show was about to come out.
Yeah.
So that was publicity going on for whether it was good or bad, it was publicity. And it might make a person say, man, I want to tune in to see exactly what was happening with Kim, how she feeling. I can see this being just some publicity stunt that he orchestrated with his baby mama. Just for some publicity to sell something or a new show or whatever it is. I mean, you know, because for one, putting out new pictures of somebody, yeah, it appears to be right. It appears to be just simultaneous, something he just did off the cuff, but it's very illegal. So in most cases, you have to have somebody's consent in order to do so. And he's not stupid. He know better than that.
Okay, so if you're,
you know, so
if your lady is known if she's known as a stripper and a dancer, and everybody's already seen all the body parts, is it really illegal to put the naked pictures out there? Everybody's already seen it.
Absolutely, because she still can sue you for defamation of character. You know,
she take her clothes off for a living.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. That's a nice theory. I'm not sure that I think
a man might be trying to sell some socks, man.
You might be right.
You know, he got his sock business.
Oh, okay. So we selling socks with ass. We selling socks with ass now.
I don't know what he gonna put on them socks.
I know he said he spent $1 million in 2 months on her ass.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said a lot. He said a lot of stuff, man. And it's just now.
I think it's strategic.
Now I will say, as far as what Reggie said, I do think that it probably is some of the part of the show that they're trying to do, just get more pub for the show. And this family is known for putting all of their business out there all the time. So that particular part, how I feel about him putting all his business out there, I'm not shocked, because his family's been doing it for quite a long time. They've been making a lot of money off of it. Now the rest of everything else,
you guys might be right. Like I said, it's a good theory, man.
But the rest of everything else, I don't feel bad for him.
When you see the new season of Rob Kardashian and Friends,
I don't watch that ish.
No, I'm just saying. When you see the commercials on TV, the Rob Kardashian and Friends show, we'll know what it really was.
Yeah.
He not. I mean, from from the episodes that I have seen of that particular show, he's not really featured on that show, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start featuring him more at this point.
No, he was on there pretty prevalent, if I can remember.
Early on he was, but not recently.
I think he had his own show with Black China, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I ain't never watched it, but I know it was there.
It was trash, man.
Yeah. I have no doubts.
I mean, there's two sides to every story. At this point, we're only hearing his side of it. I guess we would have to hear the other side of it to know.
Oh, well, she did.
No, we don't have to hear the other side.
Yeah, she posted that he put hands on her.
Definitely don't feel bad for him.
I don't know how true that is, but you know.
Well, I mean, it is documented that he hit one of his exes in the past. I ain't trying to put no blame on him for for future stuff, but there is video evidence of him hitting a female in the past.
That was on the show, man, and I think they put a sound effect on that, man. It didn't look like the sound matched up with the actual strike. But that's not funny. That's not nothing to laugh about. I take that very seriously, people.
Yeah.
But if he hit her, she should have went to the police. But if that is the case, I mean, that's very serious. It definitely should be taken very seriously. But I mean, you guys got anything else on this? I'm not very interested in this topic at all.
The only thing that he said that I thought was somewhat disturbing is that she had just given birth, and I say 4 weeks later, he said he was already getting her breast surgery because she couldn't wait to drink alcohol. Or so 4 weeks in, and she's supposed to be breastfeeding, and she's already trying to get back on the drink.
Well,
so that was probably the only thing that I thought that was disturbing.
The thing is, though, Mo, when a relationship is built on drugs, sex, and money, that ought not to surprise you, brother. What the relationship, that's the foundation. That was the foundation of their relationship. So,
y'all know what surprises me? That we still talking about this.
Oh man, I'm so surprised.
We can move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on here.
Mo had a lot to say.
Dr. Wesley Muhammad had an interview with the Breakfast Club recently. He had a lot of interesting points to say. I didn't actually watch that video, but I heard it was very interesting. I do plan on checking it out. Judge, Reggie, either one of you want to start with the points that he was making, what he was trying to put across?
I'll let Judge go.
Yeah. So what he did, they interviewed him. I believe he was plugging a book that he just wrote. But a couple things that he touched on that I thought that were interesting was he talked about the drug culture and the changes in marijuana and the potencies in marijuana. Yeah. He also talks about in the beginning, so he's asked about his affiliation with the 5%ers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
so he discusses that he's still affiliated, he still considers himself a 5%er. And he also discussed how the philosophy is that the black man is God based on God's manifestation into the black man. So what you consider to be God is manifested in the physical in the form of a black man. That's kind of how they look at it. He also talked about what we like to call nigga culture. We all, Chris Rock said back in the day, the niggas got to go. He kind of confirmed that the niggas got to die, is basically what he said.
Niggas got to die. How do we distinguish?
And wait, let me get the last point. The last point he talked about was that I saw on social media were a lot of different Pan-African groups and others considered to be, they took issue with is his discussion of black universities and the use of a 4-year degree to study in African studies courses, getting a degree in African studies, and then how that applies to prosperity and nation building. So a lot of people took issue with him saying that, I think it's a BS degree for you to go to a 4-year university, acquire so much debt, and then only come out with an African studies degree and then looking for a job. So those are the things he kind of discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually remember, now that you said that, I actually remember a lot of the interview now. I agree with a lot of the stuff that he said. Some of the points I thought were a little bit too, what's the word I would use? A little bit too pro Fruit of Islam for me. And as far as my taste, they were a little bit too out there. Kind of that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Reggie. Let's talk for a second. Why I let's start from the top. So he talks out. He talks about again the manifestation of God into the black man. Now, and he also talked about how in certain cultures, meaning prison culture and things like that, it helps to build men. Okay, that's kind of his thought. And he talks about how he got into it from being an atheist. He got into it, he heard it, it resonated with him, and so then he joined in after reading about it. And then later on, he heard from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Nation of Islam, and then he decided to join that. And so that's kind of how he got into the nation, through the HBCU that he was at, Morehouse in Atlanta. Okay? So I don't know how you guys think that particular paradigm of, hey, God manifests himself or herself or itself into the black man. So let's start there.
I would agree with that take. And I think if anyone who believes in what science technically states, the Bible states, would agree also. If you believe that God created man in his likeness, and if you believe that the first man was African American, based off of what we have as far as scientific, then that would definitely fit that premise that that manifestation goes directly into the black male.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with 90% of what Wesley was saying in that video. Aside from a lot of the spiritual views that he had, which related to Islam directly, as far as his philosophy, I agree with it.
Well, we talking about this part right here, right now, as far as the manifestation of God into the black man.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, archaeological evidence has proven that we were the first people on Earth, or the first people were in Africa. The first people started in Africa. So,
okay. What about you, Mo? Any thoughts on that, sir?
I don't really think I'm gonna touch this one. I think I need to do a little bit more research. I don't know very much on that particular topic.
Oh yeah, man.
And I think that's all I can really add to it. I don't know as much on this particular topic.
That's fair. So here's me, right? That which you call God, that which is in everything, is a manifestation of what you want to consider to be God. I call it nature. So I will never say that the black man is only the manifestation of God. That's biased, egotistical, and nonsense. Because man ain't showed up without a woman. And you can only come through this world through a woman. So the flesh of a man ain't just pop up. So if you ain't talking about the black woman, you wasting your time because that's nonsense. Well, I will say this.
I disagree with that.
Everything on the planet, the trees, the other animals, the plants, the dirt, the rocks, the air, the clouds, the lightning, the thunder, the snow, it all come from the same source, including the people. We all come from the same source. We all a manifestation of that source into whatever form that it's in. And when it's gone, it goes on and goes back to that same force and that same source and comes back again. That's my understanding of it. Never would I say that what you call God come in the black man and that's it. That's egotistical because now you're giving God a personification and it's only masculine.
Nobody that was it though.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying that.
Nobody.
That's exactly what he said.
I don't even think that was what he was saying.
Do you know? Okay, so that's what they believe. You got to understand what I talked about. Their belief is that God manifests himself into the black man, Because remember, to them, God is masculine. You see what I'm saying? So you got to remember that. God is masculine. God is not feminine. So you got to look at it that way. Plus, they're still thinking from a Hebraic Christianity mindset. Because through Judaism and Christianity manifested all of these others, including Islam. So he's thinking from a masculine standpoint. And we can move on to the next topic. Unless y'all got something to say about that.
Well, I don't agree with what you said. And I mean, I think that we're probably gonna have to wait on it for another day when we can really go into religion. In the take of God.
Well, don't agree
in the creation.
You have to agree with how my understanding of God or what you call God. Yeah, we
right, but I'm talking about his point in exact. So if we don't agree on, then we wouldn't agree on that take of God manifesting himself into the African American male. And the only reason I use African American male was because, like he stated, archaeology has given us that the ancient people come from
Africa. Yeah, I was about to say, you said African American. Ain't no way it's African American.
No, I'm sorry, not African American. That's not what I meant to say. I meant African male or black male, and really just Africa. Archaeology states that the African was the first or the known first person, and if we are to assume that
right. You're right. Really, what archaeology says is the first person came from Africa.
Yeah, it didn't.
Or that was on the.
I don't think we can prove the pigment.
Didn't say what the person looked like.
Yeah, you can't really prove.
Like, didn't say that they had dark brown skin or dark black skin. So what we do,
I'm not sure about that.
What we do in our egotistical minds is we start to conjure up what we think they're saying.
Well,
in order to make us feel a certain type of way.
Well, I will say it probably didn't say that they definitely was black, but more than not in that region,
sure,
they probably had darker skin.
That's
no.
Some people, yes.
No. The oldest dig that we have of a human is of African descent.
You talking about Lucy?
As a black woman.
They don't have a color. You can't dig up bones and see what skin color they were.
Thank you.
No, but you look at bones and see features. Bones have
their skin tone. That's what I want.
No, but you can look at DNA, you can look at texture of the hair, and all of that will tell you what the
tone. I need you to understand what
you don't gotta have skin tone.
Well, to be fair, Lucy wasn't.
Take some of my nappy hair and you put it and you test it, you're gonna know that it's black.
Lucy,
it's not.
Lucy wasn't.
True. It's
Lucy
African.
wasn't a Homo sapien either.
It's African, but she wasn't a Homo sapien. That's right, Joe.
Yeah, she wasn't a Homo sapien, so you can't even use that, to be honest.
Yeah, she wasn't Homo sapien like we are today.
Yeah,
it was a little different. Yeah,
she was small. I think she
the point I made. Lucy was a woman, so the oldest thing you found was a woman, not a man.
Right.
You can agree with me now, can't you?
Well, I still don't agree, but I give you that.
Hey, no one can agree, man. This is the name of the show. No one can agree.
Okay, well, let me add this. Let me add this real quick.
Sorry, go ahead, Mom.
Okay, so as I know it, if you put all of the continents together, you know, they all fit, right? So all of the continents are supposed to fit. So we can easily, so when people say that, you know, civilization or life started in Africa, that's not really saying that if all 7 continents were together at one point, that's not really telling you where in Africa it started, or if it even started in Africa. It could be you know, anywhere if it was all one piece before it all broke up.
They had Pangea, which is all of the
that's what he's
continents together.
That's
that's a theory.
But the historical evidence has been from the area that is currently Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Which is fine.
But with that Pangea mega continent, you know, that you can have migrations and stuff. That's how stuff ended up in different places, because they were able to walk through. So
and water moves around. Yep.
Yeah. So it's definitely a theory for sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The next one he took is the nigga culture.
Nigga culture. You boys.
Explain that for us.
Yeah, just go ahead and explain what the nigga culture is.
Yeah, I would really like to know what that is.
What he was saying is you've got people who look like you, but they bring a certain cultural practice that is detrimental to the people who look like them, i.e. drug culture. He called hip-hop culture nigga culture, even though he likes some of it. He understands that the people who gets in there start to behave a certain way that's detrimental to the people, to the civilization, the culture.
So he says, well, people who look like you are saboteurs because they.
I'm not saying that's what he said. I'm saying that's what he's referring to, in my opinion.
Okay.
You say nigga culture, we talking about that which destroys black culture in America. You call it what you want. Strip clubs, drug culture, all of that, hip hop, whatever you want to call it. It's all of that manifested into when you go somewhere and the ones that show up and mess everything up is the niggas. You live in your neighborhood and the niggas start renting, your property value go down. I hate it.
So I can already say, without seeing that interview, I can already say I wholeheartedly disagree with all of that shit.
So you disagree with nigga culture?
Huh?
You disagree with nigga culture?
I disagree.
Explain.
I believe that the so-called nigga culture has more to do with economics and how you grew up as far as your well-being more than anything.
I can disagree with that a little bit because
well, let's go on because he just was so bored with it. See, he run it.
No.
Come on now. I know you got more than just that. Come on.
Look, first of all, white people indulge in so-called nigga culture, and they ain't niggas.
What's that?
What's what? What's what?
What's nigga culture?
You tell me. You the one who brought it up.
White people indulge in it. What's your opinion of nigga?
I said so-called. You said from being ghetto and hip hop.
I see it.
That's what you just said.
I said
I swear I didn't watch that video. So whatever I'm speaking about came from you.
Listen to what I'm telling you. That I said practices that is detrimental to the black community.
White people practice that all the time.
That's not what I'm talking about. I said the first sentence I said was the people that look like you behave, and they behave in ways that are detrimental to the community that's there. They bring practices that are not good for the communities that they're in.
I.e.
That's all I'm talking about.
I.e. What's the practice?
Like I just said, there are things that they do, meaning that, like for example, when we talk about Jay-Z, we talk about Jay-Z, we talk about hip-hop culture, or what's quote-unquote considered to be hip-hop culture, where you go into a community and you bring the drug life, you bring the promiscuity life, you bring an idea of, well, I'm not pro black community, black nation builder. I'm strictly here for my own self. Okay, I'm strictly here to see what I can get out of it, just like everybody else, and not what I can put into it. When I'm talking about things that are detrimental to a community, a black community, that's kind of what he's talking about, in my opinion. And we call those people, we kind of look at them like, I don't want to be around them niggas. You do it too, so you talking crazy. I know you. When we go somewhere and we go, here come the niggas, we're talking about those who are about to ruin some shit.
Yeah, but I don't blame that on.
You just said you can't say that because you'd be lying to yourself.
No, I absolutely will say that. But so that's because of education and economics.
I didn't go there. I didn't say why. I said the people, what they're doing, not the cause of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's not go that way. We're talking about strictly on their practices and what we're seeing.
Well, so you gotta get to the root. You gotta get to the root of the problem.
Right?
Huh?
You just said you look and you'll say, hey, come the niggas, they finna ruin something, right?
No, I don't say that.
Oh, come on. All right, I'll let you slide with that one.
I can kind of agree with that. I actually agree with Wesley on that. I think it's gotten out of hand, and I don't know if I think it's a generational thing.
No, sir.
It is.
What generation? Generation longer than a motherfucker then.
No, I'll tell you why I say that. No. When I say generational, I mean you got to start in the household in order to nip it in the bud. You have to be taught early on by old heads, like being taught values and being taught ethics by your grandparents. And the idea of if you get in trouble at school, when you get home, you're gonna have to face the consequences from mom and dad. Most of these homes are single parent homes, so a lot of that, without having the male figurehead ushering the righteous way for African Americans in these households, you're going to wind up with a so-called nigger culture. I mean,
see, I don't agree with that. And he didn't want to hear the root. Judge didn't want to hear the root. He was just telling the problem.
Yeah, we weren't discussing the root. We ain't got time for the root. We can do that another time, though.
I'm curious.
But if you want to call something a nigger culture, which I am strictly against.
Okay.
But if you want to call something that, it has to be consistent. And it's not consistent at all.
Okay.
There ain't nothing consistent about somebody acting out or being volatile or being disruptive.
Right. But I'm not talking about that either.
Yeah, that's what you was talking about.
I'm talking about, what I'm talking about is those who come and they're not there to nation build or to build a community. They're strictly there to get their own thing and destroy it in the process.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. You got to think about it.
And through ignorance, they don't know.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Here's where we don't have black intellectuals anymore doing what we're doing now, discussing these things and seeing how it fits in our everyday lives. And so I understand that through different segments in history, from Jim Crow to slavery to Reconstruction and all this, it causes problems in every community. I know that. But what I'm talking about is, now that we know and we're trying to build something, the ones that come and screw it up, we got a name for them amongst each other. That when we look and see what it is they're doing, we go, we can't have that here.
So his point was to remove that. We got to remove that.
He's saying you've got to remove the mentality and start to bring intellectual mentality, intellectual thought, and understanding, wisdom, and those practices into the community, and get rid of that which causes the distraction from them.
So you want genocide?
No, we didn't say get rid of people. We're talking about getting rid of the ideas and the thought processes. And in order to do that, you may have to segment yourself from those who don't want to make that transition.
Well, people already do that.
Yes, but he's saying it. Ain't nobody trying to say it. See the
People
difference?
been doing that.
But
You
nobody's
know,
saying it.
you make a little money, you get a little nice ride and get you a
But
nice
that's not-
little spot.
We're not talking about buying stuff. See, you're missing my point.
No, you leaving the hood though. That's
No,
where it comes from.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just strictly talking about black thought, black intellectualism, where smart people, educated people, and people who want to build a nation, not just smart and not just educated, but those who are in the process, who want to be in the movement of building something. You got all those people together, those who are distractions away from it. And how do you do that? And how do you recognize those people? And what is it that's causing them to do that? Well, let's see. If you're listening to Migos your whole life, if that's all you know, and you grew up on Boosie your whole life, you probably aren't as intellectually in tune to what's going on outside in the broader universe. So for you, it's strictly going on what you want to do. You want to put the dollar stacks to your ear. You want to go and get the car. You don't want to build your credit. You don't know nothing about none of that. You know, that's just being real.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I don't agree.
I disagree with it too. And let me tell you why I disagree. He kind of mentioned it in the interview a little bit. And he was kind of on the opposite end based off what he said. But with W.E.B. Du Bois, his whole premise was the talented 10. And that talented 10 would be the people that you're talking about who would have to remove themselves from that culture. But W.E.B. Du Bois' whole point was for those individuals to actually go back and bring up the people who are living in that culture that you're talking about. And I think what his point is, you would be removing yourself from those people, not actually bringing them up.
No, that's not what I said. Again, you guys aren't listening. Okay, yeah. I said you're not removing yourself, but what you're doing is those who haven't made the transition into what you're building, they're not there. You have to get rid of those. So there are many who just don't want to and will not get with the program, and that's fact. And what he's saying is those who will not get with the program, who cannot be embedded into what we're trying to build, got to go. Now, let's go back.
So what does that mean?
Let me clear that up. I want to clear that up. What is he trying to build?
I'm not saying him, but anybody. What we're trying to build What you, me, all us, even when we're having this discussion here, we're building Black intellectual thought, Black discussion, and we're building Black progress. And
I feel like it's already here.
No. What I'm trying to get you to understand is what you think is already here is only here in this bit here. It's a small bit of it. How do you create that into a broader essence of thought across not only this entire nation but the whole world? How do you do that?
First, you got to have better education.
We know that. But what you got to also do is recognize those who are detrimental to what you're trying to build.
But you gotta understand though, most of these people who are detrimental to what you're trying to build, and I don't know,
it's what you're trying to build.
I'm not saying what you're trying to build, but I'm saying not using specific. But the people who are detrimental to that are only detrimental because they struggling to get together $200 to pay their bill.
No, you're still thinking money. You're still thinking economics, and I'm trying to come from. Here's the thing: you'll never get into the room if you don't first stop your narrow-minded thinking. When you stay narrow-minded and tunnel vision, and how you, this is why I always ask you guys, explain yourself, because I want to hear if you're tunnel vision or if you're thinking more on a broad scale of things.
What are you?
Because you said, oh, well, the people who can't get in trying to scrap up a couple $100. It's not monetary. It's thought.
It is that thought. Think about it. If you're thinking about making money, you're not thinking about anything else.
Well, here's the thing. What you do is you take that same thought. You take that group that is putting together plans, processes, procedures on how we're going to go forward in progress. And you may have those that don't have $200. But you may say to them, hey, come on into this. You don't need the $200 in order to be a part of what we're building. I'm not asking for your money. I'm asking for your effort. Again, you're trying to, here's why, and this is nigga culture here, right in the flesh. Example, nigga culture go, I ain't got $5, so I ain't got to do it. When we say, I don't need your $5, I need you, your brain, and your ability to think, your ability to be open-minded, and we all learn from one another and move forward. When the mind starts to learn and be more educated, then the body and the finances and the economic will start to work. But if you don't first change the thought process and how people think, it don't matter how much money they got, they're detrimental to the process. So don't be vision with your thought. Start to be more broad with it, and I guarantee you'll see what I'm talking about.
But what I'm asking is how, let's say this group right here, we got like-minded individuals who all want to push to a greater cause. What are we, let's just say we know someone who is not of that same mind,
sure,
who listens to the Migos all the time or whatever it is that you was just stating. How are you suggesting that we just decide while we figure it out? Or what is it that you said? I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
If you listen to what I'm saying and quit trying to put the thought.
No, I'm saying make it clear. Make it clear.
What I'm saying and listen to what I'm saying. If you try to interpret what I'm saying without understanding, you're going to be wrong interpretation.
You just talking, man. You
talking. I'm trying to. What's the point?
You said don't worry about the $5, right?
Hold on. Here's the thing. Because you think I'm just talking is the very reason why Black international thought cannot. This is why sometimes I say when I walk into the room, I expect to be the smartest person in the room. And if I go in there and I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm gonna go to another room where I ain't.
All right. Well, I'm asking the smartest person in the room to make it clear.
What I'm saying. Don't ask questions. Listen to what I'm saying. Think about it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I want to listen.
This is what I'm saying. I didn't say push somebody to the side because of what they listen to. I said when you've got a person who all they do is they're in a specific environment where all they know is one train of thought. Our job as those who will learn to try to get them to understand first, mentally change how they think.
Okay. I agree with that.
But what you're gonna have is you're gonna have those who, no matter how hard you try and how much effort you put in it, they will not change how they think because they're far more selfish in what they want. That's why I said you have those who come into a community where you're trying to build something. And when I say community, I'm not just referring to neighborhoods. I'm referring to a community of people who are trying to get something accomplished. They'll go in and try to get what they can get out of it, no matter what the purpose of this meeting or the community is. They're concerned with themselves. Those people have to be then pushed to the side. Those people you cannot do anything about. And
I'm not sure why he even made that point. That's common sense.
Wait a minute. No, it's not. That's in every single culture around the world. The point is you have to say things. Black people, we run around and we go, well, we already know that. We assume everybody knows, but this is the thing. When you don't say something, it's not known. Say something. So for him to even say something and triggers us to even discuss what we're discussing now is progress. But if you run around thinking, oh, well, they know that. I thought y'all knew that already. I thought everybody thought like me. No, hell no. Everybody
I don't think that's the point.
So
I think
stop talking about these things and watch progress happen. Don't assume it's just because we all friends and we all hang out in the same group.
Judge, your mic's starting to act up.
Like,
oh.
Judge,
right now, I know we don't.
Judge, your mic is tripping. But I agree with what you just said. I mean, that goes back to what I was talking about a couple of days ago. You know, as a black kid growing up, if you showed any intelligence in the education system, other kids would be like, "Oh, you smart? Are you trying to be white? Are you talking white? Are you? Oh, he's smart." They look down upon intelligence in school. A lot of people do that growing up. I don't know what that is. I don't know why people do that, but they do that.
Yeah, they do. They still do that, actually.
I know they do.
Actually, I see a lot of that as a school teacher in the school system. Kids that actually enjoy reading will hide their books in front of their peers. They don't want them to know that they've been to the library and picked up a comic book, or they reading the mythology books. What is it? The Percy Jackson and the Golden Fleece and all this. They don't want to be known to be bookworms, man.
Because they get made fun of.
They get clowned for it. And it's sad that our culture, as African Americans, it is a African American culture for us to belittle each other whenever on an intellectual level. We belittle each other if we shine intellectually, and it should be vice versa. It should be just the opposite.
Right.
So that is a cultural issue.
Okay, so
that is definitely a problem within our community.
And I think we're saying that I think that a lot of time that comes from the entertainment industry, whether it be TV or the music or anything that they hear, and we've all heard this, that the young mind is very impressionable. So they're making impressions on these young kids, and they're thinking that it's not cool to learn, and it's not cool to be intellectual. And that's just one of those things that we have to change on an overall scale. And I don't think that's a cultural thing. I think that's an overall thing. And I think
I don't know about that. I definitely
now the reason why I say that is because now we can talk about the whole thing of white privilege, and does it exist? Yes, it does exist. But you also have a lot of white kids who don't know anything, and because they're getting everything handed to them. So, but they're no more smart than the black kids. So they also have to learn what's going on, because they've learned everything from what they've seen growing up also. So it's just you have to change. We have to change the way people think on certain things. We have to show. You have to be. It has to be some type of change to show that it really is okay to learn and it really is okay to be smart.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mo.
Go
But
ahead.
I mean, just like I was saying, in the education system, people look down upon, especially in black children, usually black males, usually looked down upon or made fun of if you excel in school. That's just how it's been. So that's where that comes from.
That's almost the same as that whole prison mentality that no snitching. That really needs to change.
Yeah.
You're doing
All
time
right.
for somebody else.
Anybody else has anything to add to that, or do we want to move on to the next thing that they were talking about?
Yeah, that's it. The last one was the African studies. His idea of BS culture, we refer to well, not BS culture, but BS degrees, where he says getting a 4-year degree in African studies isn't is good for nation building. Basically, it doesn't correlate to building a nation when you go ahead and get a degree in African studies. And so he thinks if you're gonna get a 4-year degree, get it in a skill set. You can learn African history and African culture through other means.
Judge, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You have to do something. I mean, you may be passionate about learning about African American culture, but you have to assert yourself or earn a degree in something that's going to be lucrative and something that's going to be useful toward the future. You can always go and study on your own about your heritage or your culture or whatever you want to learn, but you want to first of all get a degree in something that's going to help yourself, and then because you can't help others until you better yourself. So that's first and foremost. Once you do that, then you can start nation building and helping others. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I think he also mentioned that if you are going to get a African American Studies degree, that you want to have a plan going into that. So, you need to know exactly what you're trying to do with that degree for monetary gain as well. He kind of mentioned that as well, that it wasn't necessarily, and I know social media kind of went in on him, but it wasn't necessarily just don't do that. His point was, be mindful that it's not a degree that's got thousands of job offers attached to it. So you want to have a plan in place. If that's the route you're choosing to go, you want to have a plan in place to where you can actually have some kind of financial gain, whether it be some type of speaker or, what you try to do is just have a plan in place so that, when you do get that degree, you actually got something that you can actually live off of.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's also talking about, again, when I was talking about nation building earlier, if you're trying to get something and build what you want to call a nation, right? Everybody has to have a skill set that helps the overall goal of that. And so he was referring to science, engineering, mathematics, agriculture, trades. Okay, if I need houses and homes, hospitals, etc. built, I need people that can do that. Engineers that can engineer, architects that can do that. Mathematicians, historians, all of that. People that can make crops, that can grow stuff. All of that is essential to building it, along with just having a whole lot of people go and get degrees in things that they don't need. or we don't need quota. He's saying we, but certain, when I'm not saying we, but we don't need when we're trying to build a nation, as per se he puts it. So I kind of agree, but then it is.
So are we trying to build a nation or are we trying to become lucrative? Because that's the question. And
well, it's kind of both. I mean, you can't have a nation if it isn't lucrative.
Okay, so if everybody is going after these lucrative jobs and going after some of those majors, aren't jobs are going to be overflowing and there won't be enough positions for everybody? Before a select few years ago, you didn't hear positions called like social media manager. So you have to have a thinker to come up with some of the, or should I say, you have to have a dreamer to dream up these jobs, and then you have to have a thinker to put that particular job into motion. So you need both. You need thinkers and you need dreamers to be able to execute a lot of your community building or planning that, or as you just called it.
I'm kind of I'm not, when he's saying nation, he's saying there's no black nation. And if there is a black nation, right, this is what I hear coming through the communities. Now, it may not just be from him. Their idea is, if I'm going to build a black nation, strong and prosperous, I need people who can do something. Not just people who understand African culture. And so well, you don't need to get a degree in African culture. Get a degree in something so that you know how to do something. And then take African culture and get it and learn it through, other means, through self-study and other communities. But don't go to the university and just grab an African studies degree and bypass all the degrees that you can actually use right now, today, in building something, not only for you and your family, but for, quote, a nation, And so, like Jay said, do we all need to go? First, I'm not thinking, hey, we all go and get a science degree, that there's not enough jobs. I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking you got a whole lot of people who know something. So if they're not going to get a job, they may be creating those. Or they're just sitting around with a bunch of other thinkers and philosophers, astronomers and astrophysicists, and they're discussing, I don't know, the next great scientific breakthrough. So those are things that I think he's talking about. I don't personally think that you need to get a 4-year degree in African studies as well, but if you want it, get it. However you got to get it, just as long as you know how to do something other than just talk.
All right. Well, let's move on. What was the next point?
That's it, Joseph. That's all.
All right. Well, was there something about Umar that y'all wanted to speak on? Something he had said?
You got a plane to catch, so I'm gonna leave Umar alone till next time.
Yeah, we'll cover Umar another time.
I do have to catch a flight.
You guys look at the video if you haven't, though.
Yeah, I'll check it out. We'll talk about that the next time. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Panel, I want to thank you guys for being here and giving me your input. As always, you're wonderful. We will be back very soon. We might not even wait a whole week. We might jump on here one of these days coming up. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July, and we'll see y'all later.
Peace.
Out.